This video is brought to you by Sony. Learn what happens when artists meet engineers.
Hey everybody, Jim and Joshua here to talk about today's big reveal of Evan Peters as Quicksilver in X-Men Days of Future Past. It was on the cover of Empire magazine. They have a bunch of covers out, but really the best look yet at Quicksilver, not our first one, but very different from the way he looks in the comics. What did you think of it, the sort of disco Quicksilver?
Yeah, you'd have got to be kidding yourself if you thought they were going to go with, the bright blue costume with the white lightning bolt and the little hair horns. They weren't going to do that.
The wingtips, yeah.
Yeah, so now we've got a very, here he's white, but it's very silver for Quicksilver, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's got, goggles on for running really fast. Don't want to get stuff in his eyes. And he's got a silver jacket and
silver hair.
Silver hair. He's got a like a Walkman, and earphones in, I guess, because he's always on the run.
Sneakers, because he's young and running around. Yeah.
And leather jeans because
it's the 70s. He's probably
exactly
got kind of a Jim Morrison thing going on there.
He's a product of that era, so I feel like they really went all out with that.
Yeah, and I like the look. I mean, if you're gonna make it, if you're gonna do it as a period thing, might as well have some fun with it. I did kind of like that it's basically he's the male version of Dazzler at this point,
He totally is.
Yeah, you could almost see him getting like the silver tattoo thing on his face. But Singer, has played a little more fast and loose with the interpretation, at least the visual interpretation of some of the characters before. What do you think overall, though? Is this, fans seem very, they're not nuts about this.
They're not happy.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it, and it's another thing to see it on the cover of a magazine and actually see him in action. Quicksilver has really visually interesting powers to me, so I feel like watching the speedster really unleash and do his thing, even just for a little bit, will be really, that'll get fans on his side.
Yeah. Now, he's obviously not the only Quicksilver we're going to have on the big screen in the next year or so. Avengers 2, Avengers Age of Ultron, is going to have Aaron Taylor Johnson from Kick-Ass and Godzilla playing the character. This is one of the rare cases where Marvel and Fox can each use a character, but they have to do it differently. Marvel, the Avengers 2, can't call him a mutant. That's a Fox thing. Mm-hmm. So while Evan Peters' Quicksilver might be a mutant and be closer to the actual comic book character, it does look like Joss Whedon, by the fact that he's going to have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in there, will we get a truer, Quicksilver in the Avengers 2, do you think?
I feel like because they have that divide, it allows them each to take their own version of Quicksilver. It looks like the X-Men one is taking sort of the true essence of the character, whereas the Avengers one will play up more the Scarlet Witch angle and the Avengers angle, obviously.
Yeah.
So what do you think of their new sort of origin that it looks to be forming?
Well, okay, here's the thing. Scarlet Witch is not in Days of Future Past, and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they're siblings. They go together. They've always been, from the very early days of the comics when they both started as villains to now when they're heroes. They've become Avengers and everything like that. So I think that rumor has it, since Avengers 2 can't use Magneto as their dad, and we know Baron Strucker is going to be in the movie, played by Thomas Kretschmann, the rumor is maybe they're going to be the kids of Baron Strucker. That way they are essentially still have a villain for a dad, and maybe they'll explain their powers as being the product of some sort of scientific engineering, either by the Nazis or by Hydra.
Through Hydra, maybe something to do with the cosmic cube, so they're strongly linked to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be an interesting approach. Sure, it's not exactly the same as the comics, but if you're gonna muck with the origin and have to come up with a way to explain mutants mutants, but not in name.
They call them mutants, I don't think.
That's right. Don't drop that word in that movie. I think it's probably a smart way to go. But do you think we're going to get a more classic-looking Quicksilver in the Joss Whedon one?
I feel like that the X-Men Days of Future Past version, they sort of showed they showed their hand. This is what we're going to do with them. So now they've seen the reaction. If they see that people aren't really liking this Quicksilver, they can do a closer version to the comic books, and so they might be able to win some people over for their Quicksilver by doing that. So and Joss Whedon really does to save what people love most about the characters. For the Scarlet Witch, he said she wouldn't be in the costume as we see her in the comic books, but he might try and work in the headpiece, he said, her signature look. So he might do some Quicksilver stuff for that.
Maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson will have the white hair and the wingtips after all.
Yeah,
we'll see.
You never know.
All right, we'll keep it locked here to IGN for more on X-Men Days of Future Past and Avengers Age of Ultron and all things Quicksilver. Thanks for watching.